Welcome back to the Arena Sports Bar here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, on the corner of Washington and 4th. For Inside the Huddle, we are back from the bye week, guys. The Wolverine.com presents Inside the Huddle. Here we are.
We survived.
We survived the bye week. We went a week without football. I still have a pulse. You guys still have a pulse?
No turnovers.
Yeah.
No
turnovers.
No turnovers.
Good sign.
No interceptions. No lost fumbles.
Right. Good sign.
So hopefully the team got healthier. We're coming out of a bye. And Ron, we were talking before we started. You never had the chance to come off of a bye week way back in the day, did you?
No, I'm a dinosaur. Played before those things existed, and I thought about it all week. I said, what do you do? What would you do during the bye week? Simulate a game on Saturday and go through the preparation of going to the campus in, or don't go to the campus in, and then go home.
There's no campus in on bye weeks. No, there's no clam chowder.
Man.
There's no spaghetti.
How do you
no
survive?
little 2-ounce steak. None of that. No. But I remember, Phil, when we had a bye week 20-something years ago, it was a regular preparation week. Everything stayed the same.
Oh, okay.
Except we had Saturday afternoon off. We got to go home and watch college football.
You didn't even go to the stadium then?
No. Everything was the same, except obviously Friday night.
Right.
But the whole week of preparation was the same. Was it the same for you guys?
10 years ago, it was the same.
10 years ago. All right. Well, 17 years ago.
Right. When dinosaurs ruled the earth and men played football. Okay.
Well, as far as this team goes, guys, hopefully the little bumps and bruises were healed up, the ones that we maybe didn't know about, but more importantly, the problem of the turnovers hopefully was fixed. And just recently here, the head coach may have played his card, and that Brady made an announcement that if we played today, there would be a new lineup in that offensive line. Let's talk about that a second. We knew that the offensive line was struggling in these last two victories. By the way, we are 4-0 still, right?
You know, that's the strangest thing to me. We're walking like a cloud is hanging over Michigan's head.
Right.
You know, almost like you're ashamed to be 4-0.
Right.
I guess, you know, sometimes you just got to be happy that you're winning games, you know, at some point in time.
Well, Phil, there was appropriate criticism for the way the team performed the last two games it played, but at the same time, we're happy we're 4-0.
Absolutely. I mean, we're 4-0. I think from a coaching perspective, we have a lot to work on.
Right.
So I think that with the bye week, it couldn't have come at a better time. I mean, I would just want to get out of that UConn game and get to that bye week as soon as possible.
Take a deep breath.
And I got to educate. Like I talked to a lot of the fans or alumni that I'm friends with, and that dark cloud, they feel it. And I try to bring some optimism in that.
Same here.
We are 4-0.
Right. And the team's young, and these players. What I think the fans don't understand is that these guys the coaches don't get a lot of time with these players. I mean, a lot of these freshmen, sophomore that are playing in there. I mean, every practice is that's like a month's worth of coaching.
Yeah.
You know, it's only a few days a week, and then you're preparing for that team and the game. So this is the last couple weeks. They got to focus on the fundamentals and get back to some of the things that were lacking the last few games.
Well, you talked about the coaching opportunities, and obviously there was some coaching that happened because there's an apparent lineup change in the offensive line. Allegedly, and we'll see, Glasgow's going to move over to center, and Chris Bryant's going to move into left guard. Now, Chris Bryant's been in this program a while. He's battled some injuries. I know he had a broken leg a couple years ago. I had a chance to watch him in the spring, and he was still coming off some rehab stuff there. But apparently he's made quite an impression. He's worked his way in, and it'll be interesting to see if he's worked his way in or has Miller worked his way out. And I guess we'll see on Saturday, but you just never know. Here we are, Ron, another lineup as the Big Ten season starts, and I don't know, as an offensive lineman, former offensive lineman, I don't think you want to make lineup changes unless you have to, though, right?
But, you know, the thing is, I think that this is the time to do it if you're going to do it. You know, because you've had the bye week, everybody's had a chance to practice together, get the idea of who's going to be playing next year, like we talked about before.
Yep.
But I think that the key is, like you say, now you got to perform because you've made changes after the bye week. So what happens now if these changes don't work?
Right. Well, I think Brady said, and we know as former players, changes aren't permanent.
That's right.
And every week is a new battle, and that lineup can change at any time. But it'll be interesting to see if we're more effective in the middle of that offensive line. And let's not give the offensive tackles a free pass. They weren't exactly stellar either. And I'm wondering, you know, after watching Taylor play against the UConn team, I'm wondering if he's hurt. You know, he was in that walking boot.
Right.
And we'll see how that goes to the offensive line as a whole. And I'm not giving a free pass to the tight ends. They've got to block better.
they got to block better and catch the ball. I mean, it almost kills drives when the tight end on the 3rd and 5 can't catch a short pass. It kills momentum and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like
you got to take the easy ones.
It does.
So I'm curious to know, because being a kicker, you don't get inside that huddle very often. How does the line? The line's a unit, right? You got the guard and tight. They got to play together as a unit. So making these changes on the interior side, how does that affect the unit team mentality on the line?
It's a great question. Inside that meeting room, when those guys spend all that time together, they know who the appropriate guys are, who really should be in there, who shouldn't. There's a respect in that room. And if there's a lineup change made by the coaching staff, they roll with it, they support each other, and the team moves forward. Because we all know about this program, the team comes first. And if that's what the coaches think is best interest of the team, that's what we go with. We went through lineup changes because of injury and also because of just switching guys around. But that's the way it works.
It's part of growing up, too. You talk about college ball, pro ball. When you learn that everybody has to do their job, and when you don't do their job, there are going to be consequences. And you accept those consequences and you move on. You can't worry about, what happened to the guy last week. When you got a game to play next week, hopefully this guy steps up and plays better, next guy up.
Well, hopefully that we're seeing the benefits of a stockpiled offensive line room. Three years ago, we had hardly any scholarship linemen. They're all young kids, not all young kids, but so many of these guys are young kids now. We should start seeing the benefit of the heavy competition. So, guys, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back in the sports bar here, in the Arena Sports Bar here in Ann Arbor, brought to you by thewolverine.com. We'll be right back. Back to the Arena Sports Bar in Ann Arbor. I am Doug Skeen. This is Ron Simpkins, and that's Phil Brabs. And this is Inside the Huddle. We're having some fun talking Michigan football like we do here every week. And, guys, the press conference this week, Devin Gardner was asked about some of the criticism that he's taken, and I read his comment that he thought it was fair, that he played, kind of laid an egg and turned the ball over the way he has, and he's got to be smarter, and he's got to not try to do so much. It was refreshing to see a young man take responsibility publicly for the mistakes he's made. I mean, he's obviously shows some maturity, right, Ron?
Yeah, for sure, because a lot of guys, place blame elsewhere. They say, this guy didn't do that, or, they should have did this, but maturing, he's saying, being a quarterback and a leader and being the captain of the team, accepting responsibility for your actions, I think, gives the other guys a chance to say, if I make a mistake, it's time for me to accept responsibility for it and move on from it.
Yeah, it's and you can see that throughout the course of a season. And when a guy makes mistakes and he struggles, and Phil, 4 turnovers a week, we talked about it. 4 turnovers a week. If we turn the ball over 4 times, we ain't going to beat anybody in the Big Ten.
No,
but hopefully the young man is growing within the position.
Yeah, absolutely. And get those out of his system. I mean, I think the maturity, we'll find out as maturity comes Saturday, and whether he's able to bring in that mental toughness and overcome a couple games where he's been pretty careless with the football, and Minnesota's going to come out hot. It's Big Ten, for us, it's
the Big Ten, right? This is the season opener.
Yeah. Guys, I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to. It seems like he's a cool character in there, and he just has kind of got away from himself a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
That's what I'm hopeful for. I mean, you go back to the Notre Dame game, he made that lazy pass in the end zone. The last 2 games, he's been pretty careless. But, I mean, I think the coaches were on him for 2 weeks. He does have this calm and coolness about him that, as a place kicker, I didn't have. But, and he's got a lot of pressure on him as a quarterback. I mean,
one of those turnovers in the UConn game, I'm not gonna kill him. It was the play where he tried to sneak it around the left side. The left tackle, the young man Magnuson, number 78.
That was the butt fumble.
Yeah, the butt fumble. Yeah. It was the butt fumble. The young man didn't take a good step. He didn't get his nose to target, and he got knocked back, and his butt cheek knocked the ball out of Devin's hand. And
I'll be honest with you, that game we got knocked back a lot. You talk about, the reason we made the changes, I just think we weren't getting any push. You looked at that game, and it was frustrating as a fan to watch us not attack the line and control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was a lot of wide zone right, wide zone left, and Devin's trying to find his way, and the backs are trying to find their way. And I don't know. I think that he will be more focused on protecting the ball, and hopefully, to your point, and one that I would like to see, or I always like to see, is downhill offenses. Let's go after people. Yes. And we'll see. Maybe this lineup change will be able to let that happen. I don't know. And speaking of improvements, let's talk about some of the bright spots of this offense and some of the bright spots in this defense. I've got one that we talked about before the break, and I'll bring up again. Jeremy Gallen is a playmaker, man. This guy just finds a way to get to the ball, fight for the ball, get open, make plays. I'm so impressed with this kid and the performance that he's had and how much he's helped this offense. I think indirectly, he's one of the leaders on that team. And a lot of times your wide receiver has a hard time maybe being a leader because he's out there on the edge, you know. He's away from the meat and potatoes in the middle. But I got to give kudos to this kid. He's done a great job.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, and playing hurt, playing with a hamstring, being a wide receiver, those are positions where guys are concerned about their legs and not being hurt and that kind of thing. And he's out there playing. I mean, getting the ball after catch, getting that hidden yardage that makes a difference in the offense that doesn't show up all the time. I think he's a difference maker for us.
Do you have a favorite linebacker right now?
Favorite linebacker? I like Ross, but I still think that the issue with us is that our impact player on defense not there, but we're still playing well. Giving up 200 yards in the game is great, but attacking the line of scrimmage and controlling and making plays is what we're really lacking right now.
I think that's going to come. I think it's going to come.
It's coming because we're getting sacks and stuff now too, but I think the one thing that we need is that if I was a freshman, a guy getting recruited at Michigan, I was a defensive lineman or a rush outside linebacker, I would love to come to Michigan. Because you're going to get a chance to play. And the thing is, you don't have to play every down. You can come in and play.
Now, you're in or out of the game a lot.
Pass the situations, come in, make some plays, go back and rest, get back out there again. Not like when we were out there. We were dinosaurs. We never left the field. But these guys get a chance to rest. They come back fresh after
What kind of dinosaur were you? If you had to say you were a dinosaur,
wow, what slow-moving dinosaur. Keep everything
one of those stegosaurus with the spikes on the end.
Yeah, I think that would be me. But I just like the way these guys are getting better every week. These guys are getting better every week. And I think that's the thing that makes me, as a fan, believe that we can get better when the Big Ten season starts.
Yeah, it's going to come around. Brabs, how about you? Who's your bright spot on this team?
Well, I'm going to take one from Ron's playbook here. When I was in high school, I actually played football and didn't just kick.
Okay.
Right? Our high school coach always preached on, the defense is going to come out and play strong the first few games. The offense
takes a little time.
Takes a little time to gel. And I feel like this defense has been strong throughout the season. I think they've been pretty consistent. We can talk about the pass rush and the lack thereof. I think that will come. But, they've had their back against the wall in some of these games.
They have.
And they've held up strong. I think they only gave up one true touchdown against UConn. They kept us in the game. The offense made some plays late to get those last couple scores, and we get the W. So, I think the defensive core is playing really well, and even without Jake Ryan, I think once he gets back in there, I think they're going to be really hungry and a really great defense to watch throughout the Big Ten season. So, as a unit, I really like the defense.
Well, I'm going to throw something out there. In the 1997 team, I remember that year and that unbelievable defense, right? They were great. And there was some frustrations that year about that offense. Oh, this offense isn't going to be good enough. This offense is this offense is that. But they were good enough. And every week they got a little bit better. Greasy did a better job at protecting the ball, and he was smart with the ball. He just kind of chugged along. So maybe there's some similarities with this year's team. Let's hope so. We're going to be back shortly here to Ann Arbor, to the Arena Sports Bar. And we hope you come back to join Inside the Huddle. Welcome back to Inside the Huddle, brought to you by thewolverine.com. We're here at the Arena Sports Bar in Ann Arbor. And guys, let's talk about the game this week, playing against the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and that always means the oldest trophy in the series of trophy games in college football, the Little Brown Jug. And well, the three of us don't have to talk about what it is. We all know the history, because if you play here, for those that are watching, if you play here, you are taught the history of what the jug is. The water bottles, the train, the loss, come back and win it, and the rest is history. But it is a cool little trophy, and it's not little, but let's talk about some of our experiences, and I'll just start with myself, because I'm the one talking. So.
Okay, good.
Every year that we won that thing, it was always a challenge to get your picture taken with that thing. In our senior year, Elvis Gerbach and Chris Hutchinson and Corwin Brown were the captains of that team. And I remember we were beating Minnesota pretty handily that day. And myself and Steve Everett and Joe Cacuzo told the captains, because they came over looking for it. Johnny Falk had the jug. He was getting it out. He was getting it out of the, he was taking the padlocks off. It was like the the Holy Grail coming out of this velvet case, and here came the captains. And I remember me and Everett saying, no, not this time. This press we're going to get. So we took the jug. You said, you guys stay away. You captains get all the glory all the time. And so we took that jug kind of as a joke, and we held it above our heads, the three of us, and we walked across the field, and no one else touched it. It was just us three. So what I did not realize was going to happen was somebody took a photograph. One of the photographers took a photograph of the three of us carrying that jug. And to this day, it's this beautiful 14 by 19 photo that I have in my home, and it's the greatest picture. And Mike Gittleson, the old strength and conditioning coach here for many, many years, said, you know what, Skeen? The thing I love most about that picture is it's three great friends that accomplished something together on that team. And that's my personal memory of winning that jug my senior year. So there's my sentimental story about the jug. It is important. People say, oh, it's just Minnesota, it's just a little brown jug. No, that thing's important, and we want it to stay here.
It is.
So, Ron, how about you?
I have a bad experience about the little brown jug.
I think you're the only one that lost.
I know.
Yeah, did you lose? You lost?
We lost.
Did you ever lose the brown jug? I never lost a jug.
No,
I don't know what that's like.
We didn't just lose to them.
Tell us all about it.
We were number one in the country for like 8 weeks straight.
Oh, God.
We go play them at their place in the brick house. The worst field in the history of college football.
Here comes the excuses. Here comes the excuses.
No, they beat us now because they play on the same field, but they do play on every week. But worst field ever, we lost the game to them.
What was the score? Do you remember?
It was a blur. I'm telling you, it was a blur. It was the worst experience of my life in college football. But we made a vow as a group to never let them beat us again. I don't think they scored on us again after that.
I believe it. What did Bo say after that loss to your team, and what was practice like the following week after you guys lost that game?
It was like two-a-days starting all over again.
Did you actually have two-a-days? Was it? I wouldn't surprise me.
It was similar to two-a-days. The hitting, the contact, and everything. Every drill, the intensity was up high. It was unbelievable. But the thing was the motivation not to lose again to them. It was like we red lettered that game.
Yep.
He didn't have to say anything about that game.
Yep.
We as a group made our minds up, and they were never going to beat us again. We weren't going to let them score on us again.
Yep.
And the starting running back played against me in high school. And in the newspaper, he said that Ryan Simpkins had said bad things about him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you weren't tweeting back then.
No,
so
no,
how did he get that message?
It was in the newspaper. It was in the Detroit News.
Did you say that, Simpkins? Did you say something?
I might have said a few things.
Did you really?
But he never finished the game from that point on.
You knocked him out.
He never finished the game after that against Michigan. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, really?
The rule was to make sure you hold him up.
So there were no bounties going on at that time?
No bounties, but make sure you hold him up. The first guy, don't tackle him, hold him up.
Hold him up.
Hold him up. We were coming.
Hold him up.
The promise was we were coming.
All right.
So that was my Minnesota
Perhaps how about the little brown jug in your time?
So they're starting this thing now in Michigan where they honor former champions. I don't know if you guys heard of this. I think this is the first homecoming that they're doing this. So Minnesota's not only the brown jug, it's actually homecoming, right? So the 2003 team, which is my 5th year, we won the Big Ten title. And that Minnesota game ended up being probably one of the biggest games on the schedule. Not on the schedule, but looking back at the season, biggest games. We were down by 27 going into the 4th quarter.
I remember that.
That was one at their place?
It was at their place.
Okay.
I remember that game.
We played there in 02 and 03. I don't know. We played in the Dome 2 years in a row. And we were down 27 going into the 4th. And John just who was a classmate. I just had an amazing 4th quarter and brought us back. And we ended up going on to win the Big Ten title that year and going to the Rose Bowl. But that was, that brown jug was special because it ended up being a key win for us. We lose that game.
Yep.
We lose the Big Ten title.
I remember watching that game, thinking to myself, Ron, you were probably thinking to yourself too, what in the world is going on here? It's Minnesota.
This is Minnesota.
We figured it out.
But you figured it out, pulled it out. It's a big deal. I'm glad I never had the feeling of watching them sprint across the field, take that thing,
You should have saw us run across the
point
field
at you and say,
year.
Simpkins, this is your fault.
They basically did.
Yeah, your high school buddy called you on the carpet.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That's good stuff. Well, guys, the game is upon us, and let's talk about expectations and what we think is going to happen. How do you think Michigan's going to respond? What's going to happen at 3:30 on Saturday, Ron?
Well, so far we've been terrible with our predictions. Okay, but I really think that as a group I think we're going to play better. Just being in the Big Ten Conference again, and expectations are now not you're playing against a MAC team or a conference less than your conference. You're playing against a conference and the guys that you wanted to play when you came to Michigan in the first place. So I anticipate us playing at a higher level. I anticipate the offense playing well, not as many turnovers. And the one thing I really was impressed about, we ran the ball well against Connecticut late in the game when we needed to.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can continue to run the ball, take the pressure off of Gardner so that it doesn't have to make great passes every time. And I think that makes a difference as far as our offense and getting more into a flow and controlling.
So you're not giving us any scores, is what you're saying?
I'm not giving any scores. I've been
just a W.
Just a W at the end.
Okay. All right. Brabs, what do you think's going to happen?
My spotlight's on the run game in Gardner. So in UConn, I felt like we were turning back into like Denard Robinson type offenses where
big plays happen.
Big plays. Yeah. Gardner scrambling when he doesn't really
the read zone.
Zone. He's not stepping up in the pocket, and so I want to see us establish the run game and stick with the run game and really try to establish the run game. I want to see the offensive line get a push and we got to go 3 and out. We go 3 and out, and then it's the next drive. Play a little bit of field position game, but play tough up front. I mean, I want to see Fitz break out. He's kind of my guy that I've been kind of rooting for all year. I want to see him have a huge game, take the pressure off of Devin. I want Devin just to do what he did against Notre Dame when he's got to make plays. But I don't want third and long. I want us to run the ball.
Yeah, first down's huge.
First down's huge. I want to see us get a push, get 3-5 yards on first down, so we're not playing and having to pass on second down.
Now I got a question for you. This is not one of those 2 games you were talking about, is it?
Yeah, and I think the defense is going to step up and play strong against Minnesota.
You predicted 2 losses in the season.
This isn't one of them.
Okay.
This is not one of them.
Well, it better not be. Okay. The Brown Jug, man. You better not predict that.
No, I think they win this game, and I really think the way the season, I don't think we lose it. The first 7, I thought we were good at season 7-0. I won't talk about the 8th game yet. So I think these are all just stepping stones, and I don't think we have to play great to win on Saturday. I hope we play great. If we play great, I think we win by 2 or 3 scores.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit it on the head. If there's going to be a lineup change in that offensive line, everybody's going to be looking in that interior, the center and 2 guards. Are they going to improve? Will we get a push? And then more importantly, maybe most importantly, as long as there is a 0 in the turnover stat for Michigan, we will be just fine.
Absolutely.
That'll fix so many of our problems. It'll take the pressure off the defense being put into bad spots. It's just going to be the sort of the soothing warm blanket over everything. And I believe it's going to happen because I think Gardner's going to take responsibility as he takes that field, and I just got a good feeling about this. Now I've been accused of being overzealous with some of these points thing. I kind of feel like Ron over here. My predictions have stunk, but I feel like, you know what? We're going to win by 3 possessions. Now that may not be 3 touchdowns, but a 3-possession victory. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Man, we're getting
well, it's the 3-possession victory.
I say we win by 17. I'm just going to state it.
I'm comfortable with that number.
That's a good number.
But it's a good number. Like Simpkins said, a W. A W. But more importantly, you said it earlier, the Big Ten season. All the images of the Rose Bowl around Schembechler Hall now take on a different meaning because this is step number 1 to getting to the Rose Bowl. So it does. It changes the way the team approaches. There's no doubt in my mind. So, guys, we're going to enjoy the game on Saturday. It's homecoming. You got a big party going on for homecoming?
Yes. Friends coming over. We're going to enjoy the game. I'm not going to cry in my beer.
Good. Don't cry in your beer. Waters it down.
That's right.
Well, I will be at the game. I'm looking forward to going. Hopefully it's a sunny day. And Michigan pulls out a nice, solid, comfortable victory. But we'll take a W no matter how it comes.
Yes, we will.
So you can follow all the action and get all the updates at thewolverine.com. Until next time, this is Inside the Huddle, and we are at the Arena Sports Bar. Have a good week and go blue.
Go blue.